All right, y'all. I can't believe what I'm looking at. It's Velvet, and today we're playing Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney. Oh, okay. Wow, so these are the games. First one. Dual Destinies. Spirit of Justice. Oh, and in a museum. I don't know what to expect, man. I've never played the Apollo Justice trilogy. So this is gonna be a new experience for all of us, but just hop in. Episode 1. Turnabout Trump. Uh-oh. Do I hide? Let's hide. People playing poker? What's going on? Showdown time. Uh-oh. You lose. Oh, really? You got upset because you lost a game of cards and you smacked somebody over the head with a bottle? Or maybe it was the other way around. I seem to be in a bit of trouble. Something like that. Dead. Someone hit him. Hard. Me? Please. The cops should be here any minute. I'm in your hands. Should it come to that. Oh! Wow! Okay. Alright. Panicked. Palms sweaty. I can admit it. I'm nervous. Ah, good morning. Who's this? Who are you? Good morning, sir. Kristoff. You look tense, Justice. Wound up tight. Wound up, sir? No, I'm loose. I'm fine. That screeching noise. Is that your voice? I suppose it's to be expected. Your first trial, and it's a homicide. I guess justice doesn't start small, eh? I'm fine. I got up at 5 a.m. to do my Chords of Steel voice workout. I'm fine! Ah, that explains it. I did detect a certain rasping quality to your screech. I overdid it again. Oh, the stilted animations. Oh, I missed them. As you know, your client today is a good friend of mine. He is? I wouldn't want to let him down. If you get my drift. Drift gotten, sir. I'm all over that drift. All right, Apollo. You're doing too much now. Let's relax. As it happens, I dined with him the night of the murder. We can't let this case fall through. Yes, I'm fine, sir. He didn't ask you if you were fine, Apollo. One more thing. Don't say you're fine quite so much. People might take you the wrong way. I'll be preparing our case. You might want to introduce yourself to the client. Okay? My name is Apollo Justice. Nice to meet you, Apollo. But where's Phoenix? If it isn't clear already, I'm a new attorney. And today is my first trial. Not that I'm worried or anything. The defendant has been accused of murder. My boss wants to help him out, of course. And so do I. I mean, there's no way he did it. Not him. No way. Well, who is this? Whoa. Good, morning. What voice? Morning. It's all up to you today. First trial. Nervous. Meeting him. Cardiac arrest. I think I was supposed to say something. Help? So you're... Fine! I'm fine! Your name, boy. Ah, Mr. Fine, is it? I did remember you having an odd name. Well, we're off to a great start. Are you sure you're okay? I mean, with me? Mr. Gavin is a top-notch defense attorney, and he's your friend. So why? You'll see. You can do it. Be confident. I'm really sorry this happened to you. I mean, It's time. Shall we? Yes, sir. You're the lawyer. What do you... Okay, I need to focus. First trial. Here comes justice. Okay. Uh-oh, look who it is. How old is he, man? The court is now in session. Oh, look at that hairstyle. I see you tried to swoop some of it round to the front. Unfortunately, it's not doing much of anything to help you. Against my better judgment, I'm gonna try this voice again.
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
The defense is, fine. I mean, ready, Your Honor. Mind going blank? Don't panic. Ah, too late. Your name was Mr. Justice? And this is your first trial? Yes, Your Honor. But I'm fine. Really. Are you quite sure? Your voice sounds a bit strained. Mr. Gavin? Yes, Your Honor. I was under the impression that you would be heading up this case. That was my intention, yes. However, a defense attorney must always see to his client's wishes, and my client specifically requested Mr. Justice. Well, of course he wants justice. But to entrust his case to this greenhorn. Why? I do not exaggerate when I say that you're the best defense attorney in town, Mr. Gavin.
Okay, so Gavin's got trial experience, fine.
But does he have cords of steel? Yeah, we'll see about that when I hear your objection. We'll see. Then let's begin. The defendant may enter the courtroom. Yeah, who is he? This is truly an unfortunate turn of events. I'm sorry we had to meet again under these circumstances.
I beg your pardon?
Excuse me? That's Phoenix? Oh my gosh, what happened to you? Long time no see, Mr. Wright. Let's put the past behind us, shall we? These days, I'm merely Phoenix Wright. Piano player? Mr. Wright, how could this have happened? Alright, so this makes the second time you've been put on trial? I won't speak of it further then. If the prosecution would be so kind as to explain the charges. Mr. Payne?
To think, I saw you enter this room a fresh attorney, and now I'll see you leave in chains.
Hey, now wait a minute now. Whatever it was murder, right? Phoenix didn't do it. He's a good noodle. Ah, Winston Payne. Subtle as ever, I see.
The crime occurred at the Borscht Bowl Club, a Russian restaurant.
Another restaurant murder.
The defendant, Phoenix Wright, took the victim, a customer, and he hit him, wham, on the head, smack, killed him cold.
A customer at the restaurant, you say? And the defendant, you say he was...
The pianist for the club, it seems.
Phoenix Wright. A pianist?
This is the weapon that took the victim's life. A bottle of grape juice.
Alright, well put it in my court record. Let me see.
Grape juice is apparently our defendant's drink of choice.
The court accepts the deadly bottle as evidence. Oh, there's a picture, too. We gotta look at it. Yeah, before you get into the tutorial, let me... Victim's name was Shady Smith. Died between 1:45 a.m. and 2:15 a.m. Cause of death: cerebral hemorrhaging resulted from blunt trauma to forehead. And this is the picture. Oh my gosh, Phoenix, what are you doing in a place like this, man? So that's the bottle. And I guess those are like poker chips. Why do they look like miniature toads? Homeboy slumped in the chair. Cards all over the floor. Okay. I'm sorry, did I say his prints? Of course his prints are on the bottle. Okay. Ooh.
Grape juice. How long has it been since I drank grape juice? Apparently it's Mr. Wright's favorite drink. I wonder how well it goes with borscht. The bottle is completely empty.
So, the victim was a customer at this restaurant. But just who was this, oh, I just got it, Shady Smith fellow. Because he looks shady. I got it.
We believe he was a traveler, Your Honor.
A traveler?
According to his passport, he had been out of the country for a number of years. He had only returned to this country recently, though his place of residence is unclear.
And he had some sort of connection with the defendant?
That, too, is unclear at present, Your Honor. We believe they first met at the Borscht Bowl Club on the night of the crime.
If they had only just met, then why murder? Perhaps the victim slighted the defendant's piano playing?
That doesn't appear to have been the case. No, the motive had nothing to do with the defendant's lack of playing skill. At least not piano playing. I'll let this photo explain what I mean.
Right, we just looked at it.
As we can see,
it was poker, okay.
The game of poker was in progress at the scene of the crime.
Wait a second. Isn't poker gambling? That's a crime in and of itself.
Indeed, it appears our defendant has fallen to become the basest sort of criminal.
Objection!
It is true that the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim. Yet it was only that. A game, in the purest sense. A competition, Your Honor.
A competition?
Yes, a test of wits, a silent clash of passions. Only the cards, their backs wreathed in blue flame, know its final outcome. Come again?
The cards on the table had blue backs, Your Honor. I believe the defense was waxing poetic in an attempt to mystify those present and impress women.
That will be our first order of business here then. To find out more about this fatal game of cards. Why do you have a smirk on your face? Very well, defendant. You will testify to the court about the poker competition held the night of the crime. My pleasure.
This is it. My first trial. Here goes nothing.
Okay. Considering I've never played this game before, I'm not gonna skip the pressing of the statements. We're gonna go through all of this together as a unit. The competition. I am a pianist by trade, yet I can hardly play at all. My real job is to take on interested customers over at the poker table. The room where we play and the competition in there are the club's main attractions. The rules are simple. We play a game of poker using 2 decks of cards. That's all it is. A game. And our customers are happy. So then where's the other deck of cards? A pianist who can't play piano? Well, this is Phoenix we're talking about. That tracks.
Better than a defense attorney who can't defend.
I'm surprised Phoenix didn't try to represent himself in court. I don't know, there's always a reason. Very well, the defense may begin the cross-examination.
Right, Your Honor. My first cross-examination. Don't blow it.
Hey, I don't need your tutorial. I got it, man. Let's get it.
Hold it!
Nice hold it.
You can hardly play?
Oh, I play sometimes, when customers demand it. So I play them one song. That's usually all they want. Was that supposed to be a boast just now? The title of pianist is a mask. A respectable face I wear for the world at large. Then why are you really at the Borscht Bowl Club? Okay. They pay you just to play poker? That would seem to be the case. I am a professional, after all.
Bah! Do I detect pride in that statement? It's just hard for an honest, hard-working member of society like me to imagine.
Yes. Your imagination was always a bit limited, Winston.
What?
I've played poker for 7 years? How old are you? Wait a minute, I don't think I went to the persons tab. Phoenix is 33 now? Oh wow, okay. I played poker for 7 years in that little room. And I've never lost once.
What?
You see why the customers come now? Defeat the undefeated poker champion. It's quite a draw. That is, I'm quite a draw.
Wait, you've never lost once? Not even one time?
As I said, I'm a professional. He's played poker for 7 years and not lost once.
Is that even possible?
We need that other deck of cards. They must be like scratched or something.
The room in the crime scene photo is an attraction?
It has quite a history, actually. The Borscht Bowl Club used to be a gathering spot for black market types back in the day.
Black market?
All in the past. Things like the black market are only on the silver screen nowadays. Suffice it to say that there were a lot of deals being made under the table. Right there in that room. A smoky room, gambling hoods. You know, just looking at this picture makes me feel bad. The bosses gather around the table, cutting deals, safe from the eyes of the law. Meanwhile, a goon keeps watch through the small window. I can practically picture it now. That window does look like it would be good for keeping a lookout, but little else. The room had a few other tricks to it. Oh, can you be more specific? Though it was common knowledge to our regulars. At any rate, they come to play poker in a room steeped in history. Despite the dark past, it was all just good, clean fun. Right, the 2 decks of cards. I want to... 2 decks of cards? A simple measure to prevent cheating. If you alternate 2 decks, no one can slip in cards. I see. There's something else I noticed. In addition to the cards on the table, there are some lying scattered on the floor. I noticed that too. Precisely. Cards on the table, cards upon the floor, each one forming a complete deck. A crime scene painted blue by a sad sweep of cards. It's poetic, really.
Incidentally, we use 2 types of cards at the club. One deck of cards was red, the other blue.
We only have the blue one, so where's the red? As I recall, in poker you make 5-card hands. I can see how it would be easy to cheat. Yes, the game of hands. Phoenix, what do you mean by that? This competition you're talking about, I believe the court understands the nature of the game sufficiently.
That's right. It was a simple game, after all.
Are you sure?
Huh?
People are not murdered over simple games, Mr. Justice. Defendant, you were in the room the very moment that the crime occurred, yet you claim no connection to the crime?
Now that's strange.
What's strange?
I was testifying about the competition then.
Asking me about the crime at this point is against the rules, Your Honor. Of course, I expected to hear a cry of objection from the defense.
I completely let that one slip by.
Don't despair yet, Justice.
Sir?
Right? There's something I'd like made clear. Namely, your connection to the case at hand. And I'd like to hear it from you.
Sure. Why not?
Very well. The defendant will amend his testimony.
Just one little press and I've gotten myself a whole new testimony.
Okay? Oh, now Phoenix. I plead silence regarding the murder, but I will say I never touched the murder weapon. I'm afraid that's just not correct. Opening objection. My face is covering it.
So you say you didn't touch the murder weapon?
This grape juice bottle?
Right?
So I said. Something the matter, Mr. Justice?
Too bad our new defense attorney never learned how to play dumb.
What's this, Mr. Payne?
I examined the bottle in question, you see, and it was covered with the defendant's fingerprints.
Objection! No need to shout, Mr. Justice. I can hear you just fine. Excess yelling can damage the judge's ears and our case. But what about my cords of steel?
Anyway, what's so strange about fingerprints on a bottle in a restaurant?
Well, that's true. Uh-oh. There's a history? Yeah, well, that's true. The prints alone don't prove he did it.
Oh, they wouldn't prove a thing. If they were normal fingerprints. Huh? But the fingerprints on the murder weapon were upside down.
Upside down? What does that mean?
It means he was holding the bottle inverted. And there can be only one reason for that. Yes. To brain someone with the bottle.
Oh. Look at those faces.
Mr. Gavin, I think things just took a turn for the worse.
No. I see no problem, Justice.
Huh?
The only thing that matters is the truth. There's a good reason for everything. You'll see. Defendant, can you explain your fingerprints on this bottle to the court?
I stand by my plea of silence regarding the murder. For now.
Not very cooperative, are you? This could hurt your case.
I'm sure he's uncooperative because he's hiding something. There must be some reason.
Objection!
Your Honor, you seem to have forgotten something. And what might that be, good Mr. Gavin? On the night of the crime, who was it who reported the murder to the police? Reported?
Well, that was the defendant, Mr. Wright. But still, that...
Really?
Yes, well, according to the case file, the murder was reported from near the scene by a call from the defendant's cell phone.
Near the scene?
Let's take a look at a diagram of the murder scene, shall we? The victim was murdered in a small room in a basement 2 floors down from ground level. Of course, cell phones can't get reception so far down. The defendant used the stairs in this hallway to go above ground. The call came from the first floor of the restaurant.
I see. And this is the phone that made the call? Right, cell phone added to the court record, okay? The defendant could have just fled the scene of the crime if he so chose. Yet, he fulfilled his duty as a citizen and reported it to the authorities. And you claim he is being uncooperative?
Nice save, Mr. Gavin. I better not waste this.
I think the prosecution has toyed with our client enough for the time being.
Toyed? I assure you, no one is more serious about...
What was it you said? The defendant was in the room the very moment that the crime occurred? How can you possibly know this? That's a good question. How indeed? The answer is simple, Your Honor. The prosecution has a decisive witness.
You're as good as they say you are.
So someone else was in the room the night of the crime. That must mean they witnessed the crime. Everything up till now has been a warm-up, Justice. Are you ready? Very well. The prosecution may call its first witness to the stand. Oh, we're done with Phoenix? Hello.
The witness will state her name and profession.
Hold on, just a moment. Where is the witness?
I surmise that she has been frightened by the defense's demonic-looking horns.
Are you talking about his hair? So I used a little hair gel. Relax, people. Have no fear. If any horns point in your direction, this court will cut them off. Oh no.
You... are sure?
I swear it on my gavel. Please, come out. Isn't violence against hair a crime, Your Honor?
Well, if you are sure it is okay.
Now, the prosecution... Wait a minute! Would the prosecution care to explain the witness's... paraphernalia?
Yes, she is a professional, Your Honor. Those are merely the tools of her trade. And that would be... My name is Olga Worley. I am employed as waitress in Borscht Bowl Club restaurant.
Then, why the camera?
Of course, it is my pride to serve borscht that is named in restaurant. But I also perform how it is said, other service.
So she's Russian. Oh. A lot of Russians in Ace Attorney games. I take it one of these other services is taking the customer's pictures?
Da. Like, for example, this one. Oh.
I would like a full screen. That's the defendant?
Indeed. On the night of the murder. The man in white hat is one who has gone kaput.
Indeed, that is the victim. Oh, this is quite a piece of evidence to casually drop into our laps.
It is the same way as I drop cold bowls of borscht on laps of customers. Casually.
Then the court will casually accept this new evidence. Oh, we're gonna look at that right now. So Phoenix was sitting at the piano, but there are no cards on this table. So what floor were they on? There's a whole bunch of bottles of grape juice right there. Are we sure that the grape juice bottle we have is the actual murder weapon?
Now, witness, where were you at the time of the murder? I was in room. The hideout, we call it.
Excuse me? The hideout?
It is room where famous gangster Bad Guy was arrested.
Bad guy?
His room where murder took place. You look of utter surprise. It is lovely. I will post by courtroom door later for you. Da. Photos will be numbered, and you will write which ones you want copy of.
So there were 3 people in the room at the time of the crime. The victim, Shady Smith, Mr. Wright, and Olga Orley. A witness. And if Mr. Wright isn't the killer, that means... Well, we gotta prove that first, Junior. Very well. Witness, you will testify to the court about that night's events. Okay. That fateful night.
That night, customer asked me to deal cards for game. It was cold. Both players played with hats on. Da. The victim, he plays whole time with his hand on locket at his neck. Then, last hand is done. But something terrible has happened. Da.
He was grasping a locket around his... Hold on. Y'all see a locket? Because I don't see the locket. It's in this picture, but not another one. We'll keep that in mind.
That man flew at victim and is strangling him to death.
Strangled him? Incidentally, who won the game?
Isn't it obvious? The winner was the victim, Mr. Smith.
Objection!
It's ridiculous. Because Mr. Wright can't lose. You should have just let that one slide, Apollo. Justice, maybe you can come up with a more legitimate objection? But he hadn't lost in 7 years.
Take it from me, kid. It happens. I didn't lose a case my first 7 years as prosecutor either. Incidentally, I have some evidence here.
Okay, what is this? The cards in question?
These are the poker chips as they lay the very moment of the crime. The hand and chips on this side belong to the defendant, Mr. Wright. Those on the far side belong to the victim, Mr. Smith.
Chips, you say?
Da. I mean, yes. Imagine that poker is war. Your hand is your army, and the chips are the spoils.
I know that. After all, in my youth, I was known as the poker head of courtroom number 3. I think he means poker face. Looking at this picture, it does seem that most of the chips are on the victim's side of the table. That bottle that's on the table is missing its cap, and it's nowhere on the table, but the bottle we have in evidence has a cap on it. Maybe it's not important, I don't know. I'm just keeping things in mind. Yeah, the strangling him to death thing. I'm going to present the autopsy to her.
Objection!
Okay. Oh, really? Strangled, you say? That's odd.
Duh. Normal customers only choke on borscht.
No, I mean, this report shows that the victim died of a blow to the head. Miss Orley, really now? Did you witness the crime? Nice form. Looking at the picture, it doesn't seem like he was hit. He's still wearing his hat and everything.
Yet it is a fact that he was hit, Your Honor.
Ah. And his pendant is gone.
Here's a photo we took of the victim with his hat off during our investigation.
Well, that's quite shocking, isn't it? This head certainly was hit.
But I have seen it happen. The defendant, he lunged at victim. His neck.
Oh, really, Miss Orley? I think I've caught you in your own lie this time. Justice. I admire your enthusiasm, but perhaps you should think this through once more.
What do you mean? I found a contradiction.
There's one thing in her testimony that troubles me. There's something else?
There's such a thing as thinking too much. This horse is dead. Let's stop beating it.
There's such a thing as thinking aloud too much, too.
Objection!
Hey, you know, there was one curious part in her testimony, just like Mr. Gavin said. But what does it mean? Mr. Justice, would you care to explain what it is you're thinking so intensely about?
Recall the testimony, Your Honor. The victim played with his hand on locket at his neck, I believe she said. I hope you aren't about to raise an objection to the witness's grammar.
No, but look at this photograph. Do you see a locket on the victim's neck? Well done, Justice. I'm impressed. I knew you'd be able to handle this. But what does it mean? If we are to believe this witness's testimony as is, then the locket disappeared following the victim's death. Lockets don't just disappear, Your Honor. It's quite simple when you think about it. If the locket is gone, someone must have taken it off. No?
Taken it off? Wait, you don't mean...
The defendant wasn't strangling the victim at all. He was taking off his locket. Wouldn't that explain it? Defendant, what do you have to say to this? Say. Yes? I just noticed this, but... Oh, that! I didn't even notice. You have something hanging around your neck, don't you? Oh, you mean this? Yes, it's a locket. With a photograph inside. A photo of my daughter.
Come again?
Mr. Wright, you have a daughter?
I confirmed it at the time of the arrest.
I didn't know you was a Pepe now, Phoenix.
What? The picture in the locket is indeed Mr. Wright's daughter.
So Mr. Wright has a locket too? Why don't I buy that this is just a coincidence? Well now, if the results of this poker game led to the murder, perhaps we should hear a bit more about the outcome of the game?
For the testimony won't really be necessary. It's clear the defendant lost. Badly.
Oh? Miss Orley, you will testify to the court about the game played between the victim and defendant.
Duh.
She looked off to the side like she didn't know about that. Serious competition.
The game began with 3,500 points in chips for each man. House chips come in two sizes, small and large. The one who was winning, it was victim. For last hand, defendant played all chips on table and lose. The moment loss was decided, defendant grabs bottle from table and...
Indeed, looking at this picture, it does seem to be a one-sided game.
As the court knows, poker was the defendant's life. Failure must have been a bitter pill to swallow.
Ah, how many times have I heard these words? I've done it in a fit of anger, Your Honor, and now I regret what I've done. A common tale, but true.
Methinks the judge watches too many old court movies. Mr. Wright said he hasn't lost in 7 years, so this testimony must be wrong.
Okay.
Hold it!
Are those the usual starting points? Or any special rules used?
No, not special. Usual game, usual rules.
If each man began with 3,500 points, then the total would be, exactly 7,000 points.
Please, this isn't calculus. It's not even long division.
Hold it!
Okay. Are the chips in this photo all the chips that were used?
Of course.
Something's fishy with these chips. Should I press harder? Oh my gosh. Let's do it, let's do it. Maybe you could explain a bit about these chips?
Blaine, what is there to be explained? Poker chips are poker chips. They're not fish and chips. Not a chip off the old block. Not a motorcycle cop.
Thanks. Now that I've pressed her, I'd better ask something.
What are these chips worth? Are they in dollars? Or rubles even? Yet, as I have been saying before, it was game, not gambling. Odd, perhaps, for capitalists to understand. 2 types of chips. 100-point chip and 1,000-point chip.
Now wait a minute, I feel like I should write this down.
It is not money,
Justice? Sir, don't you find her comment interesting? In more ways than one, sir. I'd have it added to her testimony myself. Okay, let's add it. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So which is which?
Hold it!
Is my question. Mr. Gavin said his testimony is important. To be honest, I have no idea why. I got you. Let's go.
The 2 types of chips.
The small ones are 100 and the big ones are 1,000. Right?
Right, of course. Don't waste our time.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Great. Mr. Gavin made me stop her. Now I'm the one who looks dumb. Oh, Justice? Please try not to embarrass me like that.
Huh? Who, me?
There's a clear contradiction in the information you have in your hands. It's a simple matter of calculation. Go on, try it. We're not in kindergarten, after all. I knew it! I hate math. Wait a minute. We don't know. Okay, so 1 is worth 100. 1 is worth 1,000. So that's 1,400 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9,200.
Objection!
You're sure it was the victim who won?
absolutely sure? Seems our new attorney is a bit confused. A glance at the picture is enough to tell you who won. If you're not in kindergarten.
Just for safety's sake, could you explain the problem to the court?
Of course, Your Honor. In this photo, I see small chips and I see large chips. Tell me, which were worth 1,000 points? Why, the big ones, of course. Duh.
Oh, I thought so too. But then the totals don't add up.
The totals?
Let's review what the witness told us. Each man started with 3,500 points in chips, and the combined total value of the chips was 7,000 points. Yes, if my calculations are correct. Let's see, 3 plus 1, carry the 5. They are, Your Honor.
Now, look at this photo that allegedly shows all the chips. If the big chips are worth 1,000 points, and the small chips are worth 100, and you add them up, how much is it?
Do it yourself. You aren't in kindergarten, are you? 10,600 points. The chips don't add up. This clearly contradicts the witness's testimony.
But why? How could this be?
Exactly, Justice. Now that you know the what, you must determine the why.
Right. There's only one possible way to explain this contradiction.
Starting points were wrong, the chip count was wrong, or both were right. Both were right? Each man began the game with 3,500 points. If all the chips are indeed shown in this photograph, then there can be only one answer. Well, what is it?
The value of the chips was the other way around. What?
I know what I think. The small chips were worth 1,000 points, not the big ones.
Madness. Utter madness.
Show me that photograph of the chips again. There are 6 small chips and 10 large chips. Why, that does make 7,000 points when you add them up. Excellent work, Justice. It's almost as though you figured it out by yourself.
Well, I'm just glad I was the one who said it. What? But wait. The value of the chips may be different, but that changes nothing.
Indeed, the victim did have the larger number of chips still. Now you see it?
Exactly. If the small chips are 1,000 points and the large chips are 100, let's do a little math. Add up the points for each side of the table.
The victim, Mr. Smith, had 2,900 points, and the defendant, I'm guessing that's the defendant, has 4,100 points.
Well now, it seems that Mr. Wright was winning that night after all. That's impossible.
My client had even less reason to kill the victim. After all, he was winning.
Now, Miss Orley, you must have known the true value of chips, since you were there at the scene of the crime, weren't you?
Yeah, caught you. Order! Order! It appears our defendant has lost his motive, and Mr. Wright's supposed defeat never happened. We must now ask ourselves whether we can... Hello? What happened? Excuse me? What is it, Miss Orley?
I did not want to be saying this, but actually, you see, See what, Miss Orley? What do we see? In the last hand, there was cheat.
I hate when witnesses and ace attorney do this. You got them on the ropes, then all of a sudden, wait a minute, I just realized something else.
Cheat? You don't mean a trick?
Or do you mean a scam? They're all the same thing.
Yes, there was cheats in last hand. That is why game ends with chips as they are.
Great, just great. First we have lying, now cheating. Well, this case certainly has taken a turn. For the interesting. Witness, you will please testify to the court. Tell us about this cheating in the final hand. Okay, the final hand.
The last hand. Both men had full house. There is 4 of each card in deck, from ace to king. If you look at both men's hands, cheat is more obvious. The next moment, game becomes argument. Duh! The defendant's trick was exposed. He took bottle in his hand. Poor Mr. Smith.
Miss Orley, why did you not tell the court about this from the very beginning? I thought I smelled a cover up here. Well, folks, it's time to throw back the covers. Full house is a very high-scoring hand. Not easy to make, in my experience.
That alone is enough to suspect less than scrupulous tactics.
Mr. Gavin, what's a full house?
Lawyers these days, you don't know your poker.
I can't say this bodes well for your case. Or career? What does me not knowing about poker have to do with me being a lawyer? I need you to be serious, Your Honor. What is this, some kind of secret court poker ring? Justice. You know the terms 1 pair, 2 pair, and 3 of a kind, yes?
Yeah, no problem. 2 cards with the same number makes a pair, and 3 makes a 3 of a kind.
Good. Now picture a hand with 1 pair and 1 3 of a kind. That's a full house.
That doesn't sound very easy to make, does it? You can see each player's hand in this photo.
Wow, they both have full houses.
We forget there's an easy way to make a full house and go undefeated for 7 years. You cheat.
The defense may cross-examine the witness.
If he did cheat in the last hand, that still leaves one important question. Mr. Wright lost that hand. Who's ever heard of a professional con man losing when they cheat?
Or was Phoenix the one that was cheating? We gonna figure it out. Cause I mean, you look over here, he has 3 kings, 2 aces. Phoenix only had 3 sevens and 2 aces. Imagine playing this game and you're a kid and you don't know anything about poker like at all. Just playing it. Just how hard is it to make a full house anyway? Oh, little statistics.
It is quite hard, duh. It is making a pair and a 3 of a kind at the same time.
I guess that's right. Very difficult to be sure. You can take my word as the poker head of courtroom number 3.
Very difficult, duh. But 'tis not impossible.
Okay, full house, hard. This line of questioning, a waste of time. Okay, explain more. How was it clear?
Duh. Well, the defendant, he played a 5th ace.
A 5th ace?
I still remember both hands very well.
Excuse me? Oh nah, can we add that to your testimony? Cause that's not true. Oh, please add it to the testimony.
Objection!
It appears the witness is mistaken.
Taken? But my name...
Look, this piece of evidence clearly contradicts what you said in your testimony. That's the photo of the chips, is it not? Justice, perhaps you ought to explain your point in a way that the judge can comprehend. In other words, use your finger to point... Oh, yay! We get to be specific!
Take that!
Miss Orley, in your testimony, you made the following claim. Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces. But as you can clearly see, the victim's hand only held 2 aces. Well, maybe the witness was simply confused. Perhaps it was the defendant's hand that held the 3rd ace in No. Take another look at the evidence. As you can see, the defendant also had 2 aces in his hand. Where's this 5th ace? I see cheating all right, and it's going on right here in this courtroom.
2 aces in each player's hand does make 4 aces in total. Hardly proof of cheating.
Wait, please. It is true. I have seen it. The 5th ace. There was cheating. I swear to you.
That's odd. She must be lying, yet she's the most sincere I've seen her all day. You are right to trust your instincts. Mr. Gavin? Who knows what lies in store for us in the trial ahead? Your Honor, if I may, I have a suggestion. What might that be, Mr. Gavin? If you don't mind, perhaps we might examine the actual cards? The cards. Mr. Payne.
Yes.
The players' hands that night were set aside as evidence, were they not? The defense would like to request that the cards be shown to the court. Very well, the prosecution will submit this evidence. Which will you examine, the victim's cards or the defendant's cards? I can only choose one. Which of these hands is more suspicious? Honestly, I think it's the victim's. Having 3 kings is kind of crazy. View the victim's hand. It was the victim's hand that changed over the course of the witness's testimony. The defense requests time to examine Mr. Smith's cards. Oh no, you're forcing me to do the tutorial. I already know what to do, man. Your Honor, look at this. One of the victim's cards. The back is a different color.
Eh? That's impossible. But I put that card in Wright's hand. Ah!
What was that, Miss Orley?
No, yet. I merely said, I have...
Your Honor? Mr. Gavin, yes? Tell me, what is the easiest way to cheat at poker? To cheat? I'll tell you. One merely needs a friend. A comrade, shall we say. The dealer.
Ah. Wait, so you mean this witness, Miss Orley?
She's the cheater. A professional, I'd wager. Okay.
Focus, Justice. Time to take advantage of her.
What?
I mean, of her mistake. Your Honor, please recall the testimony we just heard.
Yeah, we heard it. We heard the slip up.
Ergo, Miss Olga Orley conspired to cheat. Not with my client, but with the victim, Mr. Shady Smith. Not only did she cheat, she cheated poorly. Therefore, it's not hard to imagine an altercation between her and the victim.
Wait, you don't mean... The defense isn't accusing the witness, Miss Olga Orley. Are you?
for justice. There were 3 people in the room at the time of the incident, and if Mr. Wright isn't guilty, that means I am. The defense accuses the witness, Miss Olga Worley, of murder.
Nice. Mr. Payne, where is your witness, Miss Olga Orley?
It appears she has lost consciousness, Your Honor.
Mr. Justice? Your Honor. It seems you've presented a new possibility to the court. One suggesting a connection between the witness and the victim, Mr. Smith.
And that means?
This court cannot pronounce a verdict for the defendant at this time.
What? I did it. I held out.
I see no point in prolonging the trial this day. The prosecution will need to make further inquiries.
Objection!
Phoenix, what are we doing? You can't end the trial here, Your Honor. Not yet.
What nonsense is the defendant spewing now?
Think. One of the cars had a different colored back. Don't you wonder what it means?
What are you doing, Mr. Wright? Raising objections right when you're about to get off the hook? Ridiculous!
Mr. Payne, you of all people should know. Mr. Wright has a talent for the ridiculous. Perhaps we should get to the bottom of things. Let's clear up the facts about the game that fateful night.
As was said before, we alternated between 2 decks of cards that night. That was said before. The 2 decks at the club have different colored backs, blue and red. 1 color per deck. Why use different colored backs?
If you use the same color, the 2 decks might get mixed.
You used different colors and they still got mixed up.
We used the red deck for the last game. I see. But that's odd. For some reason, I have this impression that you were using the blue cards.
Yeah, me too. I'm sure someone said something about blue cards. Whatever. In the end, 1 card of the wrong color got into the mix, which means there was cheating.
Yes, cards slipped into the deck would seem to indicate cheating. Yet, this card raises 2 serious questions. Paulo?
Yes?
Let's consider the first question, shall we? Think. In the last game, when was the card swapped?
When?
There are 3 broad possibilities here. It could have been swapped before the murder, during the murder, or after the murder.
Well, yeah. Thanks for the news bulletin, Mr. Wright. Of course it was swapped.
Oh? It might be as simple as you think, Mr. Payne. Or it might not be. I'd like to hear what Apollo thinks first. When do you think the cards were swapped? When was the card swapped into the deck? It will go after the murder. Perhaps it happened after the murder?
Is that ridiculous? What's the point of cheating after the hands have been shown? That's silly.
Objection!
Yes, but tell me, how do you swap cards during the game? I'll take silly over impossible. Right. That would mean that the blue card in question was swapped after the hands were shown. After the murder.
Okay, this is going past silly and straight on to crazy. I ask again, what's the point of cheating after the game's over? would do that?
Indeed. That's one of the mysteries before us. There's another? Yes. A simple, yet decisive question must be asked. Who swapped the red card for a blue card?
Who?
The game in murder is done. The victim is dead. Only two remain in the room. Alive, that is. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, and our witness, Olga Orr.
Okay, so who was it that swapped the red card for a blue?
It ain't Olga and it ain't Phoenix. That means it's someone else?
Well, the one who swapped the cards wasn't Mr. Wright, of course. And, well, it doesn't seem like it could have been Olga Orley either.
What are you suggesting? That's hardly a logical conclusion, I'll admit. As a defense, I think it only makes sense for you to name Miss Orley at this point.
Yes, I know. But she was the one who dealt the cards, right? I just can't believe she would make the mistake of swapping the wrong color card.
And if the card was swapped during the game, it'd be obvious. Something you'd like to share with the court, Mr. Wright? Oh. My apologies, Your Honor. I was just thinking how much fun all this is.
Fun? How about confusing? I have no idea what the defense is claiming, Your Honor. If the one who swapped the card wasn't the defendant, and it wasn't Miss Orley, then who was it?
Yeah, well, that is the question, isn't it?
Precisely. Huh?
I believe we're about to see this case take a new direction. A new direction? We'll find that, indeed, after the murder, someone swapped one of the cards in the victim's hand. And that someone made two critical mistakes. I'm sure you're going to tell us that the first was swapping the wrong color card.
Because the one who did the swap didn't know two colors of cards were being used. The other mistake was the number on the card. Right. The person replaced the fifth ace with a king. I'm sure whoever swapped it wasn't expecting there to be a fifth ace after all.
All they knew was that the game had been won with a full house. So they picked up a king from the table and swapped it in.
But there's one problem. According to our case record, this person doesn't exist.
True. Not until now. But you have to admit the possibility of a fourth person. No, it's more than a possibility. There was someone else there that night at the scene of the crime.
What?
I believe the judge spoke truthfully earlier. You do make trials ridiculous, Mr. Wright. This trial has proceeded on one central assumption, namely that at the time of the incident there were only 3 people in that room. I believe this new evidence, shall we say, overturns that assumption. The problem is that you chose to conceal this information from the court.
I suppose that is a problem, yes.
Court is adjourned for a brief recess. Mr. Gavin, I'll see you in my chambers during this recess.
Certainly, Your Honor.
Very well. The trial will resume in 20 minutes. Oof. Now we gotta look for a fourth person. That was quite unexpected, Mr. Wright. To suddenly claim there was another person at the scene of the crime like that. I must ask, is it the truth? Well now, I think you would know the answer to that. Being mysterious, are we? Sadly, I have no time for mysteries. I'd only ask that you leave the defending to your defense in the future. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee the outcome.
I see you haven't mellowed out one bit, Kristoff.
Justice?
Yes, sir.
The judge has summoned me to his chambers, so carry on without me.
did well, Apollo. Well, can I ask you something?
Sure.
That locket you wear, is that really yours, Mr. Wright?
Ah, you're wondering about the victim's disappearing locket? Here, you can take a look at it. That's a picture of my daughter in there.
Oh! I'm just surprised to hear you had a daughter.
Most people are. Perhaps you'll meet her one of these days.
One more question. The one who cheated that night, was it you?
What do you think?
Huh?
You know what happened 7 years ago? What I did? It's not unreasonable for you to think I might cheat.
I never. Honest. But it is odd that he managed to go undefeated for 7 whole years.
Want to know something? There's only one game where you can be dealt bad cards all night and still win. Poker.
Eh?
You see, poker is all about reading your opponent. That way, it's a lot like a court case.
Poker is like trial law?
Figure out what your opponent is thinking, and you win.
Well, yeah, but that's harder than it sounds.
Try as they might to conceal it, everyone reveals their true thoughts in the end. Their body language can become a valuable source of information.
You're kidding.
That witness, for instance, Miss Orton. She would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice?
No. Come on, who noticed that?
Words, habits, twitches. It's all information for the reader. That's the secret to winning, Apollo. Someone taught me. Now, I pass the secret on to you.
But I'm not worthy. I mean, there's no way I'll pick up on these signals.
No, you can do it.
Huh?
You just don't know it yet.
What's he talking about?
But you will. Soon. Ah, almost forgot. One more thing about this case. You should know, I haven't told the truth to anyone.
What? I knew it.
I have my reasons, of course. All shall be revealed. And Apollo, I need you to be there, defending me. I need your power.
I
had no idea my cords of steel were that special. It's time. Real trial begins now. Do your best.
To be continued? What?
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this first part of Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. I guess we'll find out what the actual truth is that Phoenix is keeping from us in the next chapter. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to leave a like. It's very much appreciated. And if you want to see more of the things that I do, you can click that subscribe button. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.